Welcome to ProjectME, the podcast. I'm your host, Tiffany Carter, the founder of ProjectME, multi-millionaire entrepreneur, former TV newscaster, money-making expert, female empowerment speaker, and self-proclaimed office supply addict. My mission is to take the mystery out of making big money. Every week on ProjectME, the podcast, I'll share success tips, strategies, and stories from other entrepreneurs, experts, and millionaires, showing you exactly how you can achieve your most exceptional life. Now let's get to it. Exciting announcement for all of my listeners. I've officially opened my exclusive group, the ProjectME Passive Income Posse, to the public. This group is by application only, so we can keep the group high vibe and spend our time, energy, and expertise only helping those of you who truly want massive success and impact. You get live weekly trainings from me, special guest coaches, and direct access to me and my business partner for all of your questions. To learn more and apply, go to projectmewithtiffany.com, click on Work With Me, and select ProjectME Posse. And of course, any questions, feel free to DM me at ProjectME with Tiffany. Welcome to ProjectME with Tiffany Carter, the podcast and posse. I'm your host, Tiffany, and today I'm bringing you an episode that is long overdue, but it's also right on time. I am bringing on a special guest who's a renowned transformational energy coach to help you let go of the people, beliefs, things, and behaviors that are no longer serving you, yet you still are holding on to them. It's like you're afraid to let them go. You know they need to go. And there's a hard time internally trusting that what you really want is coming in, and you kind of want to be able to see it before you believe it. And we all know it doesn't work that way. So Natalie Ehmka is a transformational speaker, trainer, and sought after energy coach to leaders all over the globe. She works with executives, influencers. She's part of the Forbes Coaching Council as well. And she's also a friend of mine. So I'm really excited to hear what she's channeled for you guys today. So I've asked her to do that. She does it naturally anyway, but I've asked to really tap in and tune in to you guys as a collective. And we're just going to flow with what she feels you guys need to hear and the divine downloads that come through. So listen in closely, because none of this is planned, and therefore it's exactly what you're meant to hear today. So, hello, love. Thank you for coming.
Oh, this is such a great group. I'm so honored to be here. Downloading, bringing some light, bringing some codes for this group that are already working with the light. They're amazing.
So what I've been getting so much from people this month, and you guys, let me know if I'm spot on with this, is like I had all these expectations and promises and dreams and high hopes of all the stuff I was going to accomplish during, quarantine life, and with all this extra time that we have on our hands because we're not traveling, going to graduations, parties, etc. And yet I didn't. And it's also that new decade thing, right? It's 2020. It's like, I better have started this, that, and the other. And you guys know that, like, you didn't. Like, let's just call it like it is. Like, you didn't. Maybe you did a little bit, but you really didn't accomplish what you set out to achieve. Now the end of the year is coming, and it's starting to feel suffocating for many of you, almost panicky. I just want you to, if you wouldn't mind, like, speak on that energy of that panic and the timing of things, and how we force and try to push and mold ourselves to be a certain way at a certain time to get a certain result, and how that really actually doesn't serve us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is huge. This is typical for entrepreneurs and for big epic visionaries and leaders, because you can tune into the big vision. You see the big vision. You have been given insights. You've been given the big stuff. You've been given like the big picture. And this is a big part of what I do. I help energetically sensitive leaders and visionaries strengthen their human container, is what I call it, so that they can bring down all that energy to the planet. And the first thing that's coming to say to you is for this group is, it's one step at a time. That's really the best and most effective way to do it. And that takes work, because when we tune up and we tune into the big vision of things and all of the energy that's there, especially if you have an epic vision you're channeling to the planet, you see everything all at once. So in order to really bring it down through your human self, we got to work with the ways of the human self, which is to do things one step at a time. And we're also working with, the earth and this planet that has certain constructs, which is time and gravity and money. We have to honor these things and work with these. I don't like the word limitation, but work with these constants that are in existence. And we're always being helped as leaders, I work especially with people who are bringing light and positivity to the planet. I use the term light a lot, but what I really mean is just high vibration, positivity, harmony. You're bringing change and transformation to the planet in some way that is of service, and therefore you are being helped. Things are going to help you make that happen. But for big leaders, we tend to kind of get in our own way. We put the cart before the horse sometimes and forget that we are supposed to take it one step at a time. Be nice to ourselves. I always say, love yourself through this process, because it does take your human self to accomplish it, So your human self is human. But I know the thing that you touched on is really important right now for this group. So this is the loving yourself through the process, loving yourself with how much you've already done this year, whether you feel it's a lot or a little. It's a lot. Everybody, if you're in a human body in this year, 2020, you've accomplished a lot, whether you know it or not. Do you feel that when I say that?
I'm just laughing because it sounds so simple, but I mean, hello. The fact we're functioning still at this point in this craziness in this time. We deserve to have credit for that.
Shoot, girl, if you've made it this far, we've made it this far. We all have. You're listening to this. This is for you right now. Take a minute, take a breath, and honor how far you've come this year. Because you've moved. This is actually what channeled down for a lot of my leaders this past week, is you've done way more than you think you have. My crown is tingling as I say that, which tells me that's a confirmation. You have done way more than you even think, and you even know that you have on energetic levels. And when I talk about energy and I help leaders tune into their energy, I speak about it in three spheres of energy. There's the first sphere, which is you, the energy of you. You have your own vibration. This is your stuff, your mission, your feeling every day. Then there's the energy of your sphere of influence, which is your friends, your family, your followers, the people who are directly influenced by your energy. This could be your coworkers, your employees. And then there's the energy of the planet. So the energy of the planet is obviously very chaotic right now. And when we think about the three spheres of energy, the energy from you ripples into your sphere of influence and then ripples out to the world. Vice versa also happens. The energy of the planet can ripple into your sphere of influence and you can feel that too. But what I really want to offer right now is that your energy and your vibration, your impact is already being felt without you having to do anything. Now, I know that a lot of your listeners are leaders and are entrepreneurs as well, and are here bringing their light through to the world and their positive vibration through the channel of a business, which is huge. Business is the vehicle through which we will offer change to the world. So doing it with business is extremely important. But there's also energetic vibrations and ripples that move out of you just by posting a positive thing on your social media and allowing your energy to ripple out into your sphere of influence. People feel that, whether they know they're feeling that or not. So I just feel like that's coming out right now to lead with, to help maybe ease some of the pressure, the self-imposed pressure that we feel. And also honor the pressure. I mean, we feel the pressure, we feel the speeding up of things because we are supposed to move with it. But at the same time, it's about finding that big B word, which I don't actually use a lot, but it is finding the balance between loving yourself through it and keeping moving.
What's the B word? Someone else said to me this week they hate the word. One of my clients, I think, said she hates the word balance. And I go, well, yeah, because it's kind of bullshit.
Yes.
Right? Like,
it's total bullshit.
work-life balance. Like, I'm so balanced. Like, is that a thing? Like,
I really
it's
don't
not
feel
realistic,
like
is it?
No, it's the word that just came out and I trust it, but it's total. It doesn't really feel like it's a real thing because people try to achieve it. But quite frankly, balance is just a word that the human mind puts on a feeling when feelings are always shifting and the moments are always moving. It doesn't feel like it makes sense, truly. But it is about honoring both. It's honoring the movement outward and taking a second to go, oh, okay, yeah, I'm sometimes just being, and that actually offers out light too.
How does someone know and decipher? Did I blow off the things that I was divinely, supposed to accomplish? Did I not show up and do my part? Was I being, lazy? Was I procrastinating? Was I operating out of fear and I should have shown up? How does someone know if it's just divine timing that accomplishment, that goal wasn't meant to be worked on right now, or it's that you kind of have to call yourself out and you were in your own way?
Well, it is an internal knowingness that you need to do the damn thing that you are being called to do. I work a lot with intuition and doing intuition strengthening. I call myself a personal trainer for your intuition because your intuition is getting your attention in lots of different ways all the time. So it really is something that is for you to know, okay, am I supposed to do that thing? Did I do that thing yet? Only you know. And quite frankly, I always say this, in the moments between the moments, and if you forget about something and it does leave your mind and it's a different kind of energy, like it's just not there, that's a different vibration than the thing that's in the moments between the moments. Do you know what I mean when I say that? The thing that's constantly in your mind that you're literally hearing, okay, you need to do this. Okay, this is the next right step. This is the next right step. This is the next right step. That's usually your intuition speaking. And your intuition is going to guide you like a GPS always when it comes to business. And right now we're in this really interesting time because we're in September right now, the 9th month of the year. Fun fact, I don't adhere too much to numerology or all that stuff, but I know about it because I know sometimes how it impacts our energy. The 9th month, though, is about completion. It's about letting go. It's about closing things out so that you can stand taller and clearer. There's kind of a purification and a pruning process that happens for leaders. I do literally see it. I get visions and stuff. I do literally see it like a bush, and when a gardener comes in to, trim a bush, he's trimming off the branches that have grown a little crazy. They've grown a little haywire. They're pulling your energy, or they're pulling the energy of the bush, not in a direction that it's meant to be going in right now. And they lovingly will prune the bush so that it can grow taller and straighter up into its, quote unquote mission or destiny or its purpose, which is to grow as a bush. That kind of thing is happening for us, and it's happening for leaders right now. Certain things are being cut away. Certain things are leaving your life. And it's happening either forcefully or you're being shown, okay, it's time to lovingly let that thing go, whether it is a piece of the vision or a thing you thought you were supposed to do. Guided, you'll always be guided. So true integrity right now for leaders, true integrity really looks like shifting. Quite frankly, it looks like having energetic agility, like we've talked about. It looks like saying, oh, okay, that may have been true for me a month ago, but you know what? Now this doesn't feel like it's my truth. It doesn't feel like it's a path that I'm supposed to head down. And there's 9 million reasons for this. It could be because, things are shifting on the planet. It could be because things have shifted in you. You've maybe completed certain lessons. Certain people have shifted, in their lessons. There's so many different reasons for it. But all we need to know and all we need to concern ourselves with is the fact that we're feeling it.
I'm tripping right now, you guys, because it was not, I knew I wanted to have Natalie on in September. And then I shifted because you guys know, like, I've done a lot of solo episodes. And before I used to always do one solo, one guest. And I've been doing a lot of solo and I'm just bringing on selective guests. But this episode that you're listening to, if you're one of my listeners who like waits for the new episodes, love you guys. But this is on the last fucking day of September. So I wasn't aware that September was a month of true pruning, like you said, and letting go. And look at the title of this episode. And I did not ask Natalie this ahead of time, right? How to let go of the people, beliefs, things, and behaviors that no longer serve you. Isn't that cool how like the divine does that? It doesn't have to be planned. And the permission to give yourself to let go of some of these things and shift. And even when it upsets people, I'll give it a real life example. 2 examples. One, I was going to launch my Selling with Soul program in October. And I made the decision this week that didn't feel right. And I chose to listen to it in my body. I didn't know why. Business wise, like on paper, that doesn't make sense, right? If I was like the old Tiffany, how I operated my other business for many years, like a lot of business people, right? It's like Excel spreadsheets and this doesn't make sense, right? And that's why I also got sick and almost died. But that's another story. So I was like, it doesn't feel right. I did still consult, right, with my coach and with my people on my team, because I have a tendency, I can be like, we all know I like to luxuriate. Like I can be like, maybe I'm being lazy, right? But the truth is the timing was off. It wasn't meant to happen in October. Don't worry, you guys, it's going to happen, but it wasn't meant to. But I had to give myself permission, and I needed to talk it through with people too. Even though I knew, I needed some validation around it. Does that make sense?
Yes. Sometimes we need to talk this shit out because it doesn't make sense to the logical human mind. But surround yourself with people who are going to guide you back to you 100% of the time. Find a coach that's going to guide you back to your intuition all of the time. It's so imperative, because when you're here to do something that is different, there's no user manual. You are the user manual. You're receiving the information as you need it for you, for the people you're meant to serve. And it doesn't always make sense to the logical mind because, quite frankly, it's not of the mind, right? It's of magic. And like you said, the divine. And it's our job to just be as clear as possible of a vehicle for the magic to move through you. And when you're dealing with your intuition, especially as an entrepreneur, I mean, we're already seen as crazy, but to make these decisions to, that are following your intuition as an entrepreneur, it's going to seem even crazier. I mean, I've built 3 businesses in my career and 2 of them to 6 figures solely by my intuition. And people have asked me, what's your business building strategy? How did you do this? And I literally would say my intuition. I followed my intuition. And it started even before that. I left a 10-year epic speaking career where I was nationally known and traveling all over the country. I stopped it. I pulled it back. I stopped speaking. I said, I'm done. And it made 0 sense to anyone around me. They said, what are you talking about? You have this amazing career. You could literally ride this for the rest of your life. And I said, no, it didn't feel right. And now I get it, but that's the thing about your intuition. It doesn't always make sense in the moment. Just like you, I also made an epic decision in my business this past month to close down my monthly membership, which makes 0 sense right now. With love, I do think another one's coming at some point, but that particular one, it was time for it to close and it literally made no sense. Like I needed a day and a half to process it once I realized that. I heard that guidance, I heard that I felt like it just didn't make sense anymore. Or I felt like it wasn't the thing to do anymore. And it didn't make sense is my point. But once I did it, and like you, it always makes sense later. That's the thing about your intuition. It will tell you later, you'll get it later, but like Steve Jobs says, the dots don't make sense when you're in it, when you're moving through it.
But you have evidence of knowing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Life evidence and of knowing that it will make sense later. Like you have the little like meter in your head going, even when you have the doubt, it's like, but Natalie, look at this time and that time and this time and that time that it all happened for the greatest good. Like you have a whole data bank of it, right? And yeah. I do too now. But there's a lot of people listening that don't have that data bank of evidence. So if you don't have the data bank of evidence of trusting my intuition, and I know it'll work out for the greatest good, but you don't have a whole bunch of evidence of it. Oh God, can you speak to that? Because I mean, that's tough.
Yes, I
mean, obviously I've been there, right?
Totally.
We not all of us have, we don't just have this data bank. It has to be built up and it's scary as fuck.
Yes, it's scary as fuck. The intuition is a muscle. Everybody has one. It's just a matter of whether or not you're in the gym working that thing out. And the fastest way to strengthen your intuition is to act on it. I have a course called the Intuition Course that teaches some of these strategies about strengthening your intuition, and it's literally acting on it. That is the thing. I do this thing just when I want to practice, but I also did this several years ago when I was playing with my intuition and getting to know it. I would get in the car and I'd be driving to like the gym, someplace I go all the time. And I would say, okay, intuition, let's go a different way right now. Let's go a different way than I normally go. And I'm going to get the pings and act on them in the moment. Literally, this is like little mini reps in the gym with imagining, lifting up that bicep curl. I was like, I'm going to act on it. I don't know why I started doing this. This again was all just like in my mind at the time. It probably sounded crazy to anybody else, but to me, I was like, this kind of feels like fun. Let's try this. And I was tuning into my intuition. So I'd be driving along and I'd hear, okay, turn right here. And it was like a knowingness, it wasn't necessarily a voice per se, but it was like, ooh, I had a feeling I should turn right here. And then I would say, okay, I want to know why. Like, why? Tell me why. Why did this happen? Like, why am I supposed to turn right here? And then I would get some sort of a sign. I would see like, a license plate with like 2222222 right in front of me. And I was like, oh my gosh. And that literally, it sounds silly, but it's a little mini exercise you can do to start to strengthen your intuition. It's literally just to act on it. And you could do this shit in the grocery store, especially now. Like if you get a feeling as you're in the grocery store that like somebody right there in front of you needs to hear that, you love their dress, or you get a feeling that you should give this random compliment, that's your intuition talking, and act on it. And more often than not, you'll get a response back that's like, you have no idea how much I needed to hear that today, or thank you so much for saying something like that, that will tell you, yes, this was your intuition and your intuition guided you to say this. And that's just, those are little strengthening, little activities that I offer to my people, because I say that your intuition just needs practice to get stronger. So like you said, we talk about it like a bank of evidence. It's because your intuition is strong. Again, every single person has this muscle. It's just a matter of how strong it is.
I freaking love this because we love doing like practical, like takeaway exercises you can do.
Oh, good.
And I practice this when it comes to posting. So I will literally channel, my ideal client, like, Sally Sandebs, as we all know, I've named her, and I channel her and I'm like, what does she need to hear? What does she need to learn today? And I'm telling you guys, do this with your own stuff. First off, it's going to make it much more enjoyable to write content, because you're operating out of true service and love then. And then secondly, you're like Natalie was saying with the grocery store exercise, You wouldn't believe how many people go, oh my God, I needed to hear that today, Tiffany. You're in my head. That's exactly what I needed. So this is so great because there's not much of a risk involved, right? Versus I'm going to leave my job. I'm going to stop my 10-year speaking career, right? There's a lot more risk there, right? That's like going and bench pressing, like, I don't know.
Right.
I don't bench press, but like 100 pounds. something like that.
Right. Start small. Start with the 2-pounders. Start with the 5. Work your way up to 10. Absolutely.
So all of us have gone through this where we're not always just operating on our own, right? So changes that a lot of us want to make can have an impact on other people in our life, our significant other, children, family members, employees, right? Mm-hmm. And so, if we were just operating solely on our own, you kind of get the luxury of, I'm doing this anyway, and I don't have to really worry about, who it might be impacting. But it can be really challenging to let go of things that are no longer serving us, people, behaviors, jobs, income, whatever, weight, anything that's no longer serving us, when we have people in our lives, even if it's one person who is not having it, feels like their life will be disrupted from it. So how do you balance that? Like, how do you determine, what, I'm going to have to just do this anyway?
Yes. This goes back to what I was saying before about the sphere of influence, and the next conscious leaders of this world understand that they understand intimately that their impact is being felt by the people around them. So that, and I mean, everyone's is. It's just a matter of what impact do you want to send out and what are you doing? Because it is being received by people around you, especially the people closest to you. That's your close sphere of influence. Your friends, your family, your followers, they are going to feel the decisions that you make, which, to come full circle here, this is probably some of the pressure that we feel as entrepreneurs too, right? We want to do, quote unquote, the right thing for ourselves and for our people. But one of the biggest ways that I get out of my own way is to tune in, like you said, kind of channel into what is needed right now. And I always ask that it is for the highest and greatest good. I always ask, okay, is this going to help? Is this going to serve? Because that's my greater mission, and I know that's the mission of all of your listeners too, is to help. You are part of a very special group of people that's here on the planet right now to bring that change, to bring positivity, to bring your epic businesses to the world, because people need them right now. In case you haven't noticed, there's some craziness going on, and people are looking for leaders who are solid, who are steady, who feel like, okay, this is something that's in integrity that I know I need. Like, we're in the middle, I keep saying this, I've been saying this for months, we're in the middle of Integrity Overhaul 2020 for leaders, and literally shit is being sniffed out. You can definitely see it. I know, in the influencer industry, the coaching industry, you can see when people are not in integrity, and it's just like in your face right now. So with love, leaders are being called to step up and get in integrity with themselves and their offerings. And to me, that really means tuning in and asking, okay, what's my reasoning for doing this? Is this going to serve? I know it doesn't, quote unquote, make sense, but is it part of something that is going to help? Is it so that I can be more solid? Is it so that my people can feel XYZ kind of thing when I do launch this? Whatever it is, I always ask, okay, is this going to serve? Is this for the highest and greatest good? Even if it's going to be uncomfortable for people. So let's talk about that for 2 seconds. As people who are bringing light and change to the planet, we are here to illuminate things, and we are here to cause a little bit of a disruption in the current system and the current ways things are happening. It's a delicate space, though, a delicate line to walk, though, because we are doing it in a ways that does connect still, but it is something that is going to offer a little bit of a different vibe. Okay, does that make sense? And we're here to do it again through our businesses and in our families and our friends and things like that. And it looks like sometimes bringing it through a decision that is going to make people uncomfortable, whether it's personal or professional. It might make people a little uncomfortable.
Like, are you believing enough in your mission and what you're here to do to you yourself be uncomfortable, to make other people uncomfortable? You know, it comes down to that belief and trust, because let's say you have, like, you know, as example, maybe it's like your husband and you really want to start your business, or you want to go into a new business, or you want to start going after your dreams, or write a book, or whatever it is. And, you know, your husband, although loves you, is like, now's not the right time. We don't have the money to invest in that, you know, and is really uncomfortable around it. You have to be solid enough in the belief of, and in your belief of your own intuition, that this is something that you must do, where you can say to those people, you know, I hear your concerns, but you have to trust me that I know this is for the greater good of the family. This is for the greater good of, you know, our children. This is something that I have to do for me in order for me to be my best self. And who's going to fucking argue with that? And let me tell you something. If they do, I kind of don't want them in your life.
Well, it's because, and this is where we hit it with a ton of love and compassion, because this is where your light is bringing up other people's not light. Okay. It's going to bring up maybe their limiting beliefs or their scarcity or their fear, just by you shining, you know, just by you being and saying, hey, my intuition, my spidey sense says XYZ. Somebody might go, because it brought up their own stuff, right? And this is, again, where it is so important, like you said, to be really solid in your own integrity and in truth for yourself, because that's what helps keep us solid when we know we're rocking the boat a little bit. Let's take, for example, my membership that I just closed. It was 54 people that did not want to hear that membership was about to close. And with love, it was something that I knew was going to serve not just me, but it was going to serve all the people. And then on our closing calls and in our communication, I was getting I just knew, I just felt it. And I kept getting these communications from everybody saying, like, you have no idea how much this is pushing me out of my nest. Like, now I'm going to fly. Thank you so much for doing this, this, and this. You've helped me with this, and I would never have paid attention to it if it weren't for that. So all of these other messages, and I say this with so much love, I did not expect, but we're part of the ripple that was sent out by me saying, hey guys, like, I just know that I'm supposed to close this right now. And you know, I do feel another membership will birth at some point in a few months, but right this moment, this one has run its course. It's been an epic, 15 months with you. Thank you for being here. I love you. We've all got to close this chapter and move on. And everybody felt that. They felt the integrity, they felt the light, and then they felt all of their feels. I got a lot of emails. I'm like, what is this happening? Why? This is so uncomfortable. And then people understood, like, oh my gosh, this helped me see XYZ. And my intent, I didn't intend all that. I just knew that I was doing this thing in integrity, which comes, it comes down to everything. Integrity, really, truly right now. Are you doing this for the highest? Are you doing this to try to, manipulate or get something or get something different? Yeah. Or are you doing this because you know that it's, going to help and you're going to be paid for it? That's a whole thing too on the other side. Anyway, that's a whole other topic. But anyway, my point is, it does come down to how strong your muscle is, how strong your human container it feels to move with those decisions. Confidence doesn't come with knowing how it's all going to work out. Confidence comes with and from knowing that I'm going to be able to figure it out. I'm going to take this next step and I'm going to figure out the next thing. And I'm going to figure it out the next thing after that. That's confidence. It's trusting yourself truly to figure it out no matter what, right?
And asking and having the humility and being vulnerable enough to ask for the support in those times, right?
Amen.
Like for someone
Totally.
like me, I know you're not into like astrology and stuff, but like Virgo, Enneagram 6, overthinker. I have a plan A, B, C, D, and Z, even though I'm not in charge and I know I'm not in charge. And, you guys know me. So it's really important that I have people in my life that I can go to and people who work for me where I'm like, this is what's coming up for me, but I still want to hash it out. And I welcome and want to hear your feedback, but I have to be humble enough to ask for that support and pay for the support.
Mm-hmm.
Some of it isn't free support, pay for that support so that I can make sure that I get clear and I get what I need. So you don't have to figure all this out on your own,
Nope.
right? I mean, why do you think Natalie works with all these leaders and executives, right? I mean, I'm sure you work with a lot of people like myself who we balance this like right brain and left brain and masculine energy and feminine energy. And then you have people coming at you with like, but the bottom line is this, and you need to, raise your revenue, increase your revenue by X many % a year. And we've got to have people who keep us solid and grounded and help us stay true to ourselves. Or in my opinion, our egos can take over.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Literally every day I have these discussions because I work with people who are executives in corporations, right? And they have this epic mission that they are accomplishing, they're bringing to the planet, but we've got to deal with things like budgets and equity firms and these things that are, like I was talking about earlier, they're real, they're constructs of this, this earth. They're real, right? And so often people get lost in, the vision and people are like, there's a lot of woo out there that comes with entrepreneurship sometimes where people are like, leap and your wings will appear. And you're like,
and then I'm scraping them off the ground.
And I have to fucking pay my bills next month. Like, and okay, great. Thank you. And, so it's about being practical and balancing all of that. Like you said, we do need support in doing this. I mean, if we were meant to do it alone, we wouldn't be on a planet with 7 billion other people. We are meant to work with each other to mirror our shit back to us, to say, hey, this is a good business decision. Hey, I know it doesn't totally make sense, but let's go with it. Let's see what happens. We'll figure it out. Those kinds of things are important discussions to have. And of course, have people who are going to check you and help you. I do believe everything is helping you to strengthen your intuition. But I take guidance. Like I sent a message to my Facebook ads guy yesterday. And I said, hey, would you think I'm crazy if I said we run an ad that says XYZ? And he goes, yes, because if they hadn't clicked this, then that doesn't make sense. And I said, amazing. He said, I don't mean to be a negative Nancy. And I said, you're not being a negative Nancy. You're bringing your genius to the table, which I need, And so it doesn't mean my intuition was wrong in that moment. It just meant my intuition said, ask you about this so that I could experience your guidance in that moment. Right.
And you were humble enough to defer to someone who that's their area of expertise.
Totally. And again, we need each other. And I am glad, big picture, I'm glad I asked that because then I got to experience that moment of him, him feeling like, nope, I really am going to guide this that way. And his intuition gets stronger and mine gets stronger because I said, you know what? It's not that I was meant to do that per se. I was meant to ask you about that. And then that guidance came down and we move on.
I love that. And in the spirit of trimming the hedges, cleaning things up on this very last day of September 2020, there are, I would say, everyone listening, myself included, we all have behaviors and habits that we don't love about ourselves, right? When we know it doesn't serve our greatest good, yet we still do them because they're familiar, they're comfortable, we're getting a payoff. Can you speak to how to help release and let go of behaviors and habits that we know haven't served us for a long time, yet we're still holding on?
Yes. Well, I would lovingly shift some of the wording around that. And I would say the key to changing things is to hit it with a lot of love and acknowledgement for how it did serve. And say, okay, thank you. I see that this is something that I don't want to do anymore. I recognize that it's something that is not in alignment with how I want to show up moving forward. But I also have to acknowledge all the times it did feel like, quote unquote, the right thing to do. Because it did serve you. It got you this far. It got you to the point where you're now ready to change. And this is human brain stuff. The human brain processes things in contrast, right? We need to know black to know white. We need to know pain to know pleasure. We need to know up to know down. Otherwise, your brain wouldn't be able to process the information. So this is a human thing. We love our human selves because sometimes we do things that are not of the highest in order to know when it does feel like, oh, this is an alignment for my life now. Oh, okay, this is where I'm going. And we don't make it right or wrong. We just say, oh, okay, that's different than how I want to show up moving forward. But I put a lot of love on the way I did show up because it helped me. It gave me that awareness and it helped me show myself how I do want to show up.
Versus sitting there in shame, like I'm still procrastinating, right? Yes, I know you guys. That's like one of the number one. You procrastinate and then you feel bad about procrastinating, which makes you procrastinate more. And then it keeps you in a low vibe state, which makes you procrastinate more. But that giving love to something that even annoys you about yourself, it takes its power away. It sounds like
it helps you move past it. And then comes the discipline, and then comes the compassion for yourself and your human self while you're doing the damn thing that you know is uncomfortable, but is new, but is something you really want to create, sitting your ass down and writing out, the content that you've been procrastinating is actually compassionate to yourself as well. Right? Because then you're kind of putting yourself out of your own misery. You're no longer allowing yourself to spiral down. And instead you're going, oh, okay, this is actually loving myself through this and loving myself forward, as opposed to beating yourself forward. It's not what you do. It's the energy with which you do anything. Because you can go to the gym because you, quote unquote, hate your body and you want to change that. Or you can go to the gym with an energy of like, I'm going to celebrate the heck out of my body and all of the pounds that are on it right now. And I'm going to love myself through this. And if it changes, awesome. I'm setting an intention to be healthier. Cool. It's a different vibration, right? It's a different energy. And the compassionate piece is what I call an energetic WD-40. It literally helps you shift faster than if you were to beat yourself up about the thing that you were trying to change, because beating yourself up creates a stronger tie to it. Almost. It's like you said, it keeps you in the low vibe. It keeps you in the spiral and in the vibration of the thing you actually want to change. So logically, it doesn't make sense to continue beating yourself up for the low vibrational thing, because it's like the pattern on the pattern, low vibe on low vibe on low vibe.
Totally. I mean, as a recovered exercise addict, your analogy really hit home, because most of my life was, you've got to go work out. You've got to do 2 a days. You're going to be fat. You're a fat bitch. I mean, I was nasty, right? And it just fed my addiction, versus now I say, like, what is a way I can move my body today that feels nurturing and loving, right? It's a very, it's very different vibe that I experience, but sometimes it's still uncomfortable for me because my addict brain that I operated in for so many years wants to go, oh, well, that's not going to work. That's, you're not burning enough calories going on a walk or doing yoga, right? I mean, that doesn't mean that old brain still isn't there, but it's showing up and doing the more loving act for yourself anyway. If you guys are loving this episode, I want you to take a screenshot right now, share it on social media, Instagram stories, tag me at ProjectME with Tiffany. Natalie, what's your handle? I don't remember it off the top of my head.
Just at Natalie Ehmka.
So we're going to spell it for you because it's crazy spelling. It's EHMKA. So Natalie, Natalie, EHMKA. And if you're driving, multitasking, like I know many of you are, just tag me at Project Me with Tiffany and I'll make sure to share it and then tag Natalie as well. But like share this episode, especially when we're closing out this month, because trust that someone else in your audience really needs to hear the divine downloads that were shared today. And that's being of service, and that's paying it forward. So I purposely left a couple minutes for Natalie, for you to just share anything that is coming as a download to you right now in this moment that you feel we all need to hear.
Mm-hmm. Something definitely pinged when you said, the brain, you're shifting the patterning, and that's what we're all doing. We're creating the new neural pathways for the new behavior and the thing you want to do. So as we head into October, we head into these next 3 months of 2020, do so with intention. Do so with the newness in mind. Give yourself the fresh start as you head into October. No matter what day you hear this, today is a fresh start. And you can do anything that you are thinking and in your intuition is saying you want to do, whether it is to close something out or it is to create something new. It's just about creating those new neural pathways in your brain and doing so with love and that compassion for yourself really is the energy that you want to send out into the world anyway, right? So why not do it all with that energetic vibration? And sending out the positivity is what the world needs now more than ever. And people are going to be gravitating towards that. They're going to be gravitating toward you, paying it forward into the feeling that they feel because they felt you in that moment.
Amen, sister. This shit's good. I love it. I have a special gift for you guys. It is for this week only, and then it will no longer be free. And it's perfectly timed with this episode. I have created a gorgeous TIFF style affirmation card deck, and you can get it at projectmewithtiffany.com/free affirmation cards. That's projectmewithtiffany.com/free affirmation cards. So you can print these out at home. You can take them to an office supply store and have them, print out like a high res copy and laminate them. But these are beautifully in tune with everything that Natalie and I spoke on today, where you can pick one of the cards, share it on social media. You can use it as social content, put one in your purse, put one on your mirror, just to keep you in that flow and that vibration. Like you've got this, which, oh my God, that's so fucked up. That's where I got, you've got this. It's behind Natalie's head. I'm looking at her and she has I didn't even realize I said it and my eyes were shut because I'm like in the zone. And just as I said it, I opened my eyes and I'm like, what the hell? Am I seeing shit? That's fucking weird. I'm like, that must be why it's in my head. But
perfect.
But the reality is you guys got this, even if you feel like you don't. Like none of us feel like we've got it most of the time, quite frankly.
We're all figuring it out. Truly, we're figuring it out, and you can figure out anything as long as you're doing it from the present moment, and not future tripping and not going back in the back and beating yourself up, things like that. Do it from this present moment and you can accomplish anything truly in this moment.
Thank you so much for coming on and speaking to everybody. This was so beautifully timed and I really appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Where can people get more access to your lusciousness?
We just started a Facebook group. It's a free Facebook group if you're feeling the vibe. It is just called World Changer Coaching with Natalie Ehmka. It's for leaders and energetically sensitive leaders. I do also have a podcast, and Instagram is the new business card. So find me there. You'll see everything up to date. I do post frequent energy updates. I go live with the energetic frequency and things that are really helping us right now as leaders. Because like we talked about, you are part of a very special group of people, especially if you're hearing these words right now. You are here to bring that dream to the planet. You're here to bring your positivity and your energy to the places that need it most right now. So trust that, and I'll see you there.
And don't forget, you guys, today is the last day where I am matching every single 5-star written iTunes review. I'm donating $10 to Children of the Night, my primary charity that helps rescue women and children from sex trafficking. So if you've been kind of putting it off, procrastinating on doing it, it takes 90 seconds. Go and leave the review, because you're going to be part of a much bigger impact, like was also discussed today. And feel free to share this with other people. I have no limit on it. So there could be 5,000 reviews and I'll still match it, for every single one, $10. If you don't know how to write a podcast review, you can Google it. It takes a couple seconds. Thanks so much for listening. Wishing you guys great health, wealth, and worth as always. Love you. If you enjoyed this podcast, please write a 5-star review on iTunes. Not only will this make me super happy, but it will allow more listeners to find our special show. Simply help me help others.